Hello, I'm David Gullion. I would like to talk about a topic that is quite often in the news, and it has to do with Israel and its relationship with its neighbors. In 1948, the State of Israel was created, and from that time it has not lived in peace with its neighbors. Now, this begs a question, and the question is, why is this so? If one recalls, Israel is the Israelites are the people of the book, and Palestine is what is referred to in the Old Testament or the Torah as the Promised Land. Now, if Israel is the people of the book and this is the Promised Land, the Torah must have some basic formula for Israel to live in the land in a prosperous and secure way, and to do so and be at peace with their neighbors. So this is a very important question that concerns much of the world, and I would like to explore this question based upon the Torah. Okay, we'll begin by referring to Deuteronomy chapter 5, verse 33, where it says, "You shall walk in all the ways which the Lord your God has commanded you. This is so that you may live, that things will go well for you, that you may remain for a long time in the land that you shall possess." Leviticus 25:18 goes on to say, "As a consequence, you shall carry out my laws and keep what I order and carry them out. The dependent factor is so that you will live in the land securely." Leviticus 20:22 notes, "You will keep all of my laws and obey all of my orders. This is so that the land that I am bringing you to live in will not vomit you out." Another point of this issue is what does the Torah say in regards to the non-pagan inhabitants of the land? Now, one finds from Numbers 15:15 that it gives an order, and this order is, "For the assembly there is to be one law for you and the stranger who travels with you, an eternal law. It will be throughout your generations. As is your state, the stranger is viewed in exactly the same way before God." The question that one may ask, based solely upon what the Torah orders, what is the relationship that God orders to be observed between Israel and its neighbors? Let's explore this relationship through the use of a series of questions. Question number 1, how does God define the two parties? Exodus 12:49 notes, chapter 12, verse 49. "There shall be one law for the neighbor and for the stranger who travels with you," or in the King James Version, it uses the word sojourn. Exodus 22, verse 21 goes on to note, "You will not wrong a stranger or oppress him. This is because you were yourselves strangers in Egypt." So they're defining a stranger as being a person who's in the land who is not an Israelite, but is in the land. And in other words, as the Israelites were strangers in Egypt, this is how they refer to the non-Jewish residents of Israel. A summary of all this is, on the basis of the law, there can be no difference in the land between the Jew and the non-Jew. Question number 2 is one that asks, what relationship should there be in regards to the land itself? As regards the land itself, the land ownership and the distribution of property, what does the Torah have to say? According to the Torah, specifically the portion known as the Nebim, or the books of the prophets, one reads from Ezekiel chapter 47, verse 22. "You shall parcel it out as an inheritance for yourselves and for the aliens who live amongst you and have had children among you. They will be to you as the native-born sons of Israel. In the tribes in which they live, they will be assigned their inheritance." In other words, if there's such things as purchasing of land for like Jewish settlers, the Torah commands that there be an equal purchase of land for the inhabitants who already live there. To summarize all of this, based on the Torah, looking at the Torah as law, as teachings that have the force of law, one could say, No resident of the land may be treated differently before the law. There cannot be such a thing as a first-class citizen, a second-class citizen, or a non-citizen before the fundamental law of the land. And that is essentially what the Torah says. And to the extent that this is followed, there should be peace, prosperity, and good relations. One could say that to the extent it's not followed, this is not what's going to happen.